power in just humility. And I believe that humility in itself is a high frequency action as well.
Right, because humility brings authenticity. And authenticity is true. It's just true.
Right.
You know? When someone's authentic, you actually feel them. When someone is authentic and has the humility to admit their wrongs, admit whatever it is they could have done better, you respect them more.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And humility is having enough courage to actually look at your current situation. A lot of people want to pretend that there's something they're not.
Right.
I've dealt with that before.
We all have.
But you can't actually progress in that moment because you're not looking at your feet. You're not looking at your current situation. You're not looking exactly where you are on the path of life in that moment. You think you're 20 steps ahead when you're actually 20 steps behind that.
Mm-hmm.
So without humility, there is no progress. Humility is awareness. I think humility is the highest form of awareness too.
Right, because if you don't accept where you truly are, how could you possibly want to get to a better position? You have to first take into account what you are currently doing, what your current position is. It's just strategy. It's just, battle. Once again, like we talked about earlier. It's just, where am I at? Where do I want to go? How do I get there?
Right.
If you can't take into a true account where you actually are, like meaning you remove emotions, you remove ego, then how could you possibly expect yourself to get out of that position? Right?
You can't. You can't get out of that position because you're not even taking inventory on where you're at and what resources you have to use.
Right.
You think you're somebody you're not.
Does a boat out in the middle of the ocean get anywhere by they have to choose a direction, right, to get somewhere, but it'd be better to look and see where exactly they were.
Exactly.
It's not a great analogy, but you know what I mean.
Compared to just getting blown around by the wind and getting washed to ashore to a island that you did not want to go to. You were trying to get to America and you got washed up on the shores of the Bermuda,
America,
wherever, yeah.
Hoping and praying you get there by luck before you get turned over by a wave, lost in the sea.
Humility. It's powerful.
It is. Because this is another part of ownership. True ownership is being able to have that humility and what did I do wrong? What got me to my current situation? Because in most situations, there's terrible things that happen to everybody. Terrible things happen to absolutely everybody, and there's nothing you can do to avoid them. But your reaction to those terrible events and every other event is what makes the difference.
Right. And taking 100% accountability and ownership for the situation is what gives you the power over the situation.
Right.
But as soon as you point your finger and say it's someone else's fault, you lose all power and all control.
Give your power away.
Even we can use inflation as an example. A lot of people want to victimize about inflation. And inflation is real. It's 100% real. We experience it.
Yeah.
We experience it. We're not extremely and insanely rich people. We experience inflation.
Right.
But a lot of people want to point the finger and say, oh, the government this, the government that, the yada-da. Yes, that's true. But I'm not going to sit here and literally give away my power to another entity or to another being. I'm going to take extreme accountability and ownership for it, and therefore take all the power back from the oppressor that's taking my power away from me.
Right.
It's just humility and accountability, man. Like, accountability is just, it's so powerful. Even if you don't have control over a situation, if you take accountability for it, you will gain power from it. And it will alter your perspective on the situation, and you might find a new way out of the situation as well. All it takes is a different lens. How are you viewing the world?
Taking a step back, looking at yourself from 10,000 feet, understanding what's around you, what's your surroundings, and then what's the goal still.
Right.
If you don't know the goal, well, okay, that tells you something else. You need to reassess what you're doing in life, what you want to be, where you want to be at. What do you want to have? Not materialistically. Yeah, materialistics can come, but who do you want to be? What kind of man, what kind of person do you want to be?
Right.
Because that's what makes the difference. That's what actually gets you to the different life that you want. You can go ask any successful person. They'll tell you that, all the stuff they have in this materialistic life, it's second to who they became in the process. It's second to the accomplishments that they have internally that make them who they are.
It's the attributes and the traits that they obtained through the struggle and during the process that they keep with them too. Okay. They can take all your money away, they can take all of your muscle away, they can take everything from you, they can take your family, but they cannot take the attributes and the characteristics that you possess as a man.
Can't take your character.
That's morals, that's character. That cannot be bought, that cannot be sold. It is infallible. It's not even in this realm, you could say. It's a certain level of pride.
Right.
A pride of, okay, I'm proud of who I am, not the pride of, okay, I have a big ego and I think I'm somebody I'm not, but a pride of, hey, no, this is what I believe and this is what I'm standing for, and I'll stay this way till the day I die. And you cannot take that away from someone.
No.
That can never be taken away. You are the only person that can give that away. And I think that's what life as a man is about, is going through these tough situations and developing these characteristics and attributes to get through the situation. And then you actually get through the situation and you come out the other side as a different person with new characteristics. I like how they call, because I've always known the definition of character, somebody that has character. But when you think of someone having character, you can relate that back to a video game and developing a character. When you develop a character in a video game, what are you doing? You're adding traits and you're adding characteristics to the video game player, to the person in which you're playing. So you could sit here and say that having character is just leveling up your characteristics and your attributes and your traits in yourself. Like I said, you can take everything away from the character, but you can never take the characteristics away from him.
All right.
It can't be bought. It can't be. It's your word, and the power that you have as a man comes from your word and holding your word to yourself as a man. That's the most powerful thing. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. It's like God blesses you with some internal power that you can't even see, you can't touch, you can feel it though. You can feel it. It's insanely hard to describe. It's just something you have to experience.
It's something you earn.
Right. It's something that is earned.
It's earned from divinity. It's earned from the universe. It is earned from whatever you believe in. There is a higher power of some kind out there. Whether it's the universe, whether it's God, that's up to you to decide and take how you want. Right?
It's like someone that has a good physical build, right? You can't buy that. We know you can't buy that. You can't steal it. The only way to obtain that is through internal work. That's why we respect people with good muscles and a good build, if they're not using steroids. It just shows
consistency.
Right. And it's something that you can't get money and then automatically just buy a good body. You know?
No.
It takes actual discipline and it takes internal work to do.
Right.
That's why we respect it so much, because it's not tangible. It's only obtained through hard work and internal perseverance.
Right. Show me a man, I'll show you. Or what is it? What did you say?
Show me a man's habits and I'll show you his future.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you can literally feel that coming off of someone.
Right.
You can feel a man's aura. How long that he has held his word to himself. You can feel it. And I think that's the most powerful thing in a man, is that right there. Because once you hold your word to yourself long enough, then you can't be easily bought. You know, you don't sell out. You have morals, you have character, you have dignity. It's powerful, man. They can take everything away from you, but they can't take what's inside of you.
Right. That's right.
And we respect people that go through extremely hard times
and make it out.
Right, and remain solid through the entire situation. You respect an oak tree that's 200 years old that has went through constant thunderstorms and hurricanes and tornadoes and still stands strong.
Right.
You respect it.
You respect a tree with a branch hanging way out, leverage against it all, but it's so strong, it's rooted so deeply into the ground, and the wood within that tree is so strong, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It defies all odds.
And your leaves cannot reach to heaven unless your roots reach down to hell. So you have to go through extremely difficult situations.
That's a good one.
To become that person.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be bought, man. Can't be bought.
Can't be bought.
In anything. Some people would sell out for money. Some people would sell out for sexual desires. Some people would sell out for a car. Some people would sell out for not doing prison time. So you can't be bought. I can't be bought. I pride myself too much in who I am as a man and who I am holding my word to myself as a man. I can't be bought. And that in itself is enough to get me through any problem or struggle that I go through.
And that's just a progressive realization of one's actual true potential.
Right.
What can you do on a daily basis that'll get you where you want?
What will we tell young men, though, that have come from a good home, that have not really went through life-inflicted struggles, that haven't really been through much? What will we tell them
just
to develop that mindset?
First assess where you're at with your mindset, just like anything, you know? like understand what your current habits are, what your current attributes are. What does your track record look like? How well do you follow through on what you do? What are your current actions? Think about one time when everybody told you not to do something, right? And it was something that you internally knew kind of was a bad idea, but you went ahead and did it anyway, right? And think about the results you got. Think about how that felt internally. And then think about the opposite. Think about a time when you were head stuck on something and it was actually a good thing. You were stuck because you knew it was good internally. And think about what it brought, right? Assess how many of those you have versus the other and see how your follow through is altogether. And then just go from there. You know what I mean? That's one way to do it. There's tons of ways to do it. More than anything, just experience pain. Just go into something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because discomfort is what brings growth.
Right.
There's no growth found in comfort at all.
And this sounds wild too, right? But could you also tell those guys that come from those kind of situations to put yourself in hard situations, almost to the point where you fuck your life up, and then recover from it and come out stronger?
Right.
Could you use that, knowing what you know? Obviously, you have to be extremely strategic and disciplined in it, and not actually ruin your life. But if you played it correctly and you added just the right amount of struggle and discomfort into your life, do you think you could become a stronger individual after that?
Most certainly. I think it's hard to advise anybody to do that.
Right.
Because, like, we're saying, go fuck your life up and get yourself out of that situation. But it's kind of like what both me and you have done, you know? And we're still climbing out of it. But it's like, if you can do that, then you will gain such a confidence in yourself that nothing can break.
Right.
I mean, that's just the point of it. Now, we can't go recommend anybody do that because it's hard. You know what I mean?
It is hard.
And especially for young men, young, influenceable, impressionable young men, it's like, fuck, I need to go fuck my life up? Thanks, Clay and Mitchell.
Right.
You know, and then they do it. But it's like, if you give up on yourself, that's what makes a difference.
Yeah.
You know? If you give in to everybody else telling you how stupid you are, how fucked up it is, how you're making bad decisions, and you give up on yourself, you won't forget that.
Right. And I would tell guys, too, to go do something that maybe not necessarily fucks your life up, but is extremely difficult.
Right.
Go do some door-to-door sales. Go do sales in general.
Yeah.
Go get in a fighting gym. Go enroll in MMA and get your ass beat. Go do something hard. Maybe not go have 2 children and make it that hard, because there's no coming back from that. Obviously, you have to deal with that situation. You can't just hit the tap-out button.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But do something. But then again, though, there's no way out of that.
Right.
That's why I enjoy it.
Right.
There's no way out. There's no other option but to excel and succeed.
Well, you said something a long time ago that I'm sure you got it from somewhere else, but it was, your own personal path, no matter how hard, is what will make you you. It was something along those lines.
Right.
Your
unique journey. It's got to be you.
Right. Nobody can tell you what you need to do. Right? Only you know what's in your mind. Only you know what you've been through and how you've reacted to it, truly. So you have to assess where you're at and then figure out where the fuck you want to go and what skills you want to have, what skills it's going to take to get there.
Right.
And then look at what are some simple things I can do to start learning those skills. Sales is a very easy one to look at, because most places will hire, because if you're 1099, it's 100% sales. Well, your money's up to you. You make them more money, well, then you're going to make some money too.
Right. And there's a risk aspect to that too, which is an extremely masculine thing to take on as a man, is being involved in risk.
Right.
You have a family and you're involved in a 1099 job. You have a 1099 job.
Right.
If you don't hit your sales and you don't make those sales, your family they're gonna go starving. They're gonna starve.
Right.
You
Not
know,
gonna have it as easy
you don't
as
have a
them.
salary. You don't have an hourly rate.
Right.
You have to go out and hunt and bring something back for the family.
Right.
And a lot of guys could use this too. They could use the same situation. I'm not saying go have children right now. Obviously, I believe in having children. It's a good thing, but you need to get your mindset right first, because it is harder. It's definitely harder. You have more weight on your shoulders. Would I have it any other way? Of course not. But that goes back to what you were saying. It's all a unique journey. It's all a unique path. Just figure out what it is that's hardest for you and do that. What is it that you're afraid of doing, and run head first into it. What we were talking about earlier, how panda bears just sit around and they're constantly just fed, they're forced to reproduce, they don't really do much. And then you have a grizzly bear that smells hot dogs 5 miles away, and it charges the hot dogs, and it might not even get there in time.
Right.
The children might be loaded up on the bus and already gone, and it's starving for the rest of the day.
But he got there.
Yeah, eventually he will get to there though, and he will get the reward from it. I would tell young guys though, man, enroll yourself in a boxing gym or an MMA gym, whatever
or
it
a
is.
speaking class or an improv
Right.
class or just something that makes you uncomfortable, something that helps you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because there's not much good stuff found in comfort other than comfort.
But that's what our society promotes nowadays,
Exactly.
and I think that's the biggest message is
Right.
teaching people that, hey, comfort is killing you. Comfort is keeping you that same fat, broke slob that nobody respects as a man.
Right. It's
You know?
keeping you in all those uncomfortable situations that you don't like.
Right.
Yeah, all those things you complain about, you're the reason that you're complaining about it. That's so hard for people to understand that. Because they're constantly living this lie that everything's happening to them, not for them.
Right.
It's constantly living this lie that I deserve all this. I am entitled to my comfort. No. As humans, you're made to walk uphill.
Right.
You are made to go against the grain and feel pain.
As a human man, especially.
Right.
As human man, especially goes through that.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody's got their own struggle, like you said. So it's like, it's just, you got to figure out what yours is. You got to figure out what you're willing to suffer for.
Right.
And just because, again, directional correctness over absolute. Straight, not straightened.
Just overall progression.
Exactly.
And if you run out of shit to progress, which you never will.
You never will. You just go into something else.
Just look at what's bringing you pleasure.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Is it bringing you pleasure or fulfillment? And then you can dictate your entire life off of that. Is this making me happy? Am I getting happy from this? Or am I getting actual fulfillment and purpose from this?
Right.
That's what you need to be chasing. You need to be chasing purpose, not happiness. When you start chasing happiness, then you become depressed, you become anxious, you become weak. It weakens you as a man when you're constantly chasing pleasure and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're chasing purpose and fulfillment, you might be going through absolute hell, and you're smiling the entire way through.
Because you know your purpose.
Right. You know your purpose.
What's going on, guys? Hope you enjoyed the content here today. Me and Clay actually worked on this, made it last Saturday, I believe it was, between work and everything else. Just getting around to editing, getting to post it up here. So we actually have about 50, 60 more minutes worth of content that we posted shortly in different clips. So if you liked it, made you think of anything, feel free to drop a comment, drop a like, share it with somebody if you think someone could, gain from it. Remember, we're all in this together, guys. We're going to figure this thing out. And yeah, y'all just have a great rest of your day.